It's time for your Low Country Real Estate Market Update. It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Brian is one of the top 1% real estate agents in Charleston. Find him online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. Now, broadcasting from the WTMA studios, here's your host, Brian Beatty.
Good morning. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Thanks for joining me this morning. I'm your host, Brian Beatty. And if this is your first time tuning in, we talk all things real estate here on this program. So what I like to do is take national, regional, local news, apply that to us here in the Low Country, and then share my experiences as somebody that's been in the top 1% of real estate agents in this market since 2009. So have a lot of stuff planned for this program. We're at a very busy time in our market right now. So the first thing I want to talk about is what's going on in our market, kind of give you guys an update on what I'm experiencing, how things are going for buyers, how things are going for sellers. And then a little bit later on, there was some new information that came out about Zillow. And if you've listened to my show previously, some of you repeat listeners know that I am not a big fan of Zillow predicting values for real estate. And I'm certainly not a fan of the information that they rolled out yesterday or the day before, stating that they now provide Zillow estimate predictions or forecasts for what your house is going to be worth a year from now. So we'll talk about that as well. Talk a little bit about what it means to be a real estate agent in this market. I know I have a lot of agents that listen to this program, so want to kind of get some gears going here in terms of what to think about considering entering the real estate market. This is what you should know. And then for listeners, I think it might be nice for you guys to have a little bit of insight as to how we operate and what we think about. So thought that might be an interesting segment. And then lastly, I want to talk about how to prepare both on the buyer side and on the seller side for deals in this market. I've got a few things to avoid, a few things to take into consideration, a few things that'll kill a deal right now. So want to go through that in greater detail. That'll be toward the end of the program. This is an hour-long show. So prior to getting into that, if you would like to reach out to me, anything real estate related at all, you have a question, you're considering buying or selling a home, you can reach me at 843-345-1273, or you can text me at that number. Probably the easiest thing to do would be to just go to my website, www.listingsincharleston.com. And on that website, you can search the MLS, take a look at everything I have listed for sale and have sold. You can read some reviews from previous clients. And then if you're considering selling your home, click on the Sell Your Home tab, and you'll have a little bit of information on what I do to market property. Certainly not everything, because I don't put my entire marketing plan online. That's proprietary information. But you can learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee at 4.5% commission. So again, the website for that is www.listingsincharleston.com, or call me at 843-345-1273. All right, so let's get into this first segment, and really I just want to give you guys an update on where we are in our market right now, give you just an overall update. Next week, I will go into the numbers, because toward the middle of every month, I like to allow for some closings that might not have been input over the past few days for the month prior. So next show, we'll talk more about numbers. I'll give you ideas on where the prices are increasing or decreasing, where sales are, where inventory is. We'll really get into the numbers next week. But for this week, what I would take away from it is that we are still in a seller's market in the majority of our market, especially Charleston County, especially in that kind of 200 to 750 price range, even Mount Pleasant up to $1 million. It's just tough to find inventory right now. So we still have an inventory problem. So sellers, if you are listening, if you are considering selling your home, now is the time, right now. Actually, it was probably a few weeks ago, because the showing activity is through the roof right now. Online traffic, I talk a lot about the amount of online traffic I generate through my marketing. And obviously, I look at online traffic very closely because it is the precursor to showings. Obviously, people have to see it somewhere first in order to get excited about the house. And then once they see it, then they schedule a showing either through me, the listing agent, or through their buyer agent, or just request a showing and whoever agent gets it, gets it. But the online traffic is through the roof right now, and that's expected for this time of year. So, showings are very high. Still seeing a lot of multiple offers right now. I expect that to continue for the next several months. I really don't see that slowing down, especially in certain areas of Charleston County, certain areas of Dorchester and Berkeley County. I think where things are starting to slow down a little bit is where inventory is starting to normalize. And if you look at a lot of the new construction opportunities out in Berkeley County and Dorchester County, kind of in that first-time home buyer to move-up buyer price range, I'd say the 150 to 300 to 350 price range. That is I think that's a normal market right now. So I don't see this huge lack of inventory out there that's causing buyers to go in above listing price in most scenarios. It's just not that type of market right now in those two areas and in those two price ranges. Let's also talk for a quick second about deals that fall through. Deals are going to fall through in any market. It doesn't matter if the market is hot or not. There are always going to be things that are outside of your control or your agent's control that are going to cause a closing to go sideways. And it's unfortunate, and it sucks when it happens. I'm dealing with it right now on two separate properties. There is literally nothing we can do about it. The buyer is choosing to back out of a deal because of the results of the home inspection. The seller's not willing to fix everything that they want fixed. Can't come to an agreement. Deal's not going to happen. Now, the other one is a little different. It was a short sale. And, we talk a lot about short sales. And if you've heard me on this program before, hopefully you know that when short sales and foreclosures were really prevalent in our market, that's almost all of what I did. So a large portion of my total sales have been distress sales. I'd say over 50% at this point. But then again, if you look at our closings this year, we're on track for 125 closings as a team this year. Very, very few of those will be short sales and foreclosures, maybe a dozen or less. So when you look at short sales, I was telling you that this deal is falling through because the buyer chose to back out. Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes buyers get cold feet. Again, there's nothing that you can do about it as far as that particular contract goes. But what happens when contracts fall through and you do have recourse? I want to talk about that a little bit next segment, and it would really be great for me to go ahead and get an attorney back on the program for next week's show, which I'll plan on doing, so that we can talk about, hey, if a buyer or a seller backs out of an agreement, how is that handled? What happens? How does it affect either party? Is the commission still earned? Is the buyer or seller liable? Those are a lot of questions that I'd like to have answered on this program, and I'd like to have it done by an attorney. Having said that, if there are some issues that you've experienced in the past and you have some general questions, feel free to give me a call or go to my website and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about, from a real estate agent's perspective, what may have been able to have happened differently to create a different outcome. Again, that number 843-345-1273 and the website listingsincharleston.com. So I'll tell you the last thing that I'm seeing in this market right now before I talk for just a quick second about what's coming up next segment is that I'm seeing a lot of new agents in our market. Some of the agents that have been around for a long time, they connect with you and they say, hey, Brian, I'm showing your listing. Can you tell me just a little bit more about it? Yeah, sure, Joe. Happy to answer any questions you might have. Those are the easy conversations. Then you have these new agents that are asking basic general real estate knowledge questions, and automatically you're kind of, your red flag goes up like, oh, great, this is gonna take a while. Okay, yeah, what questions do you have? What can I answer? Blah, blah, blah. But then you get into contract negotiations and you realize that these people have a real estate license to represent their client to the best of their ability. And when I'm looking through these contracts and I'm seeing that, wow, they missed that, or they missed that, or we can definitely take advantage of this, I almost at some point in time feel sorry for the agent because I'm assuming they're doing the best they can. They're doing the best they can with the training that they've been given, depending upon what company they're at. But that leads me into kind of my final topic on this market, which is that agents, for the most part, really are lacking in overall education. So I'd like to see some education really kind of tighten up in our industry. I think agents need more of it, and I think it's just going to serve the public better. So anyways, coming up next, I want to talk about Zillow, what I talked about at the beginning of this program, where not only are they going to tell you what your house is worth right now, they're going to tell you what it's worth a year from now. So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.
Have a real estate question? Ask Brian Beatty. Send him an email, lowcountryhomesales@gmail.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show is on 1250 WTMA. You're listening to the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com.
Welcome back. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. Thanks for joining me this morning. I'm your host, Brian Beatty. If you're just tuning in, we just talked a little bit about the market. I gave you an overall update on where things are right now. And usually on this program, I really dive deep into the numbers. I talk about average sales price. I talk about sales. I talk about inventory. I talk about appreciation, all that good stuff. And I'm going to hold off until next week to do that because that's really when the numbers come in and we've got more reliable data. So next week, we'll talk about that. Again, before I get into this next segment, if you'd like to reach out to me, anything real estate related at all, just general knowledge questions, maybe you have something confidential in nature you'd like to discuss, you're considering buying or selling in the next month or 12 months from now, doesn't matter. I'd love an opportunity to earn your business. I can be reached at 843-345-1273, or you can go to my website, www.listingsincharleston.com. And on that website, you can search the MLS, take a look at everything we have for sale and have sold. Take a look at some of the testimonials that my clients have left me. And then again, if you're considering selling your home, click on that Sell Your Home tab, and you'll learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee at 4.5% commission. Again, that website, listingsincharleston.com. So I left you with some information about what Zillow has now done to, in my opinion, further distract buyers and sellers whom are looking at transacting in real estate here in Charleston and really internationally at this point. So here's what's happened. Some time ago, Zillow rolled out something called the Zestimate, Zillow Estimate. And what it is when you go to Zillow and you pull up your home or any home you're looking at or a home you're considering selling, Zillow's going to tell you what they think your house is worth. And I'm sure we've all, if we've been in real estate in some form or fashion, buying, selling, representing clients, property management, whatever that might be, and we've gone to Zillow, we've seen that number, and it has become commonplace, I would say. People usually rely on these types of, in my opinion, tricks or information as reliable data. And what I want to talk about first is the Zillow Estimate, because they've taken the Zillow Estimate and have gone one step further, and now they're offering a Zillow Estimate forecast. They're going to tell you what your house is worth a year from now, and they're going to give you an idea of what percentage increase or decrease you're going to realize over that 12-month period. And I got to tell you, I think it's crazy. I'm totally against it. Real estate agents have been taught to not offer opinion that is purely speculative in nature. In my opinion, it's puffery. I think they are exaggerating the numbers. I think they are offering opinion rather than fact. Anyways, I could go on forever about this topic because I feel so passionate about it. What I really think is happening is these websites like Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com or any of these other sites, they are doing a great job of offering buyers and sellers information in terms of pictures, pricing history, tax information, school information, distance to restaurants, so on and so forth. It really is, in my opinion, a helpful tool for searching for real estate. The issue is this. The information that they are providing to the public is being provided to them either by real estate agents or by owners of property. So the information on these websites is being given to them in large by the real estate agent community. Again, the problem with that is that they're basically taking this information, repositioning it into the marketplace, and then charging the real estate agents that provided them with the information in the first place to then connect with interested buyers and sellers. Now, obviously, these are not free services to real estate agents. If I want to collect the leads and actually do something about the interest that I generate online through these websites, which I pay thousands of dollars a month for, which is crazy, I have to pay to have those people communicate with me. If I don't pay, they go to another real estate agent. So that's issue number one, and that's kind of separate from the Zillow estimate, but it's all tied in. The Zillow estimate takes information provided to them and uses algorithms to determine what your house is worth. But here's the catch. Again, the information is what's being provided to them. They have no idea what your house looks like in terms of condition, and Zillow has no idea what kind of upgrades you've made since you last purchased the home. So let me give you a very specific example. And I'm not going to tell you the numbers, of course, but I bought my house about 3.5 years ago. Did a lot of work to it, renovated the kitchen, moved structural walls. We've done a very large master bathroom remodel. We've remodeled the upstairs bathroom. Sunk a lot of money into the house. It's a great house. We love it very much, but it has cost us quite a shiny penny to renovate it. Again, Zillow has no idea about this. So when I bought my house, Zillow has tracked real estate information and data over that 3.5 year period, and now thinks it's worth about 20% more than what I bought it for. However, the number that they think my house is worth right now is actually 25% less than what it's truly worth. Zillow thinks my house is worth 25% less than what it's actually worth. And the issue with that is, of course, I would hope that if you're listening, you would trust that a real estate agent that's been in the top 1% of agents since 2009 can effectively price his own home. But that's the issue, is that so let's say that a year from now, that Zillow has some sort of idea of what your house is going to be worth, and they're going to tell you today what that number is. How can you rely on that information if, when I'm looking at it, Zillow thinks my house is worth 25% less? Isn't that a ridiculous number? If I'm relying on Zillow to tell me what my house is worth and they're 25% off, that's no small chunk of change. And if they're going to tell me what my house is worth a year from now, today, and they're way off like they are now, how is this in any way, shape, or form a legitimate approach to offering buyers and sellers and the general public reliable information? It's not. It's not reliable information, and that's what I want you guys to grasp. So when I'm a real estate agent and I go and I speak with a seller about listing their house, and we go through the comps, and I'm very detailed in terms of reviewing comparable properties. I went through this a few weeks ago, where my approach to pricing a home is incredibly specific, and it's time intensive because it's incredibly important. It's probably the most important thing when selling your house is, what is my house worth? I don't want to leave any money on the table. I don't want to sell it for too low. And I certainly don't want to price it for too high, because I'm going to be one of those houses that sits on the market for 5 years and switches to 5 different agents that all tell me the same thing. So, going back to this idea that Zillow can predict what your house is worth 12 months from now, I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. You need to be able to rely on the information that real estate agents provide you with, because at the end of the day, we have more information than Zillow does. And as a professional, I'm not going to sit down and speculate and tell you what I think your house is going to be worth 12 months from now. That is literally impossible for anybody to do. Now, I can give you a best guess. It's just what Zillow's doing. It's a best guess based on math. But I don't believe in that approach. I really don't believe in that approach. Now, having said that, I am a real estate investor. I do look at areas in which I believe appreciation will occur I'm certainly not going to invest in a market where I see pricing going downward. You read the signs, you listen to the trends, you hopefully listen to the show, you have an understanding of where our market is headed so that you can make an informed decision. But I'm certainly not going to sit down and give you some sort of statistical analysis of what I think your house is going to be worth 12 months from now. I think it's wrong, and I think Zillow is going to get a lot of flack for this. Again, this just came out on May 8th. So I'd say just watch, just be ready, because I think it's going to happen. There are plenty of MLS boards, multiple listing service boards, which is what real estate agents use to provide and populate information and data to their clientele. There are plenty of MLS boards that have sworn off Zillow and Trulia and Realtor.com and any of these other service providers is what we'll call them. It's happened in Texas, and Zillow's approach to it is, hey, this is our information. This is the public's information. We should be able to broadcast it. And of course, now with Zillow, they're going to put their own spin on it and say, well, thanks for the info, but here's what we think. I don't agree with it. So anyways, if you're considering selling your house, please take it from me. Please be careful when taking something like a Zillow estimate or a Zillow estimate forecast to heart. You need to take it with a grain of salt or with a packet of salt or with a cup of salt, because as I just mentioned, they think my house is worth 25% less than it truly is. So anyways, coming up next, I want to talk about what it's like to be a real estate agent in this market. I want to talk about some things that I think most people don't really think about when they think about a real estate agent. So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Again, feel free to reach out to me, 843-345-1273, or visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. I'll be right back.
Find Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues next on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. 1250 WTMA. Now, the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show continues on Charleston's Big Talker, 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Thanks for joining me this morning. I'm your host, Brian Beatty. And if you have just joined us a little bit earlier in the program, we were talking about just overall what's happening in our market right now. I've given you guys the information and will continue to give the information every week about what's going on here in the Low Country. And we take a look at national, regional, local news. We apply that to how our market is doing here in the Low Country. And then, of course, I go through things like the average sales price increase or decrease. We look at sales, inventory, appreciation, rental market, all that good stuff. And that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to really dive into the numbers and give you guys an idea of, depending upon where you live and how much your home is worth, this is what's happening right now to you. So that's what we talked about first part of the show. Second part of the show, I got on my soapbox and I talked about Zillow, which if you were with me last program, admittedly, I got a little fired up about it, but it's something that I feel really passionate about. I think that the public in general relies on real estate agents for accurate information and an honest approach to helping them accomplish their real estate goals. And what I'm finding is with websites like Zillow or with real estate agents that really get emotional about the process and maybe steer their clients in the wrong direction for their own personal gain, we're in an industry that is starving for honest, straightforward approaches to helping people accomplish their goals. And we really just need to be mindful of the integrity that we operate our business with. So before I get into this next segment, again, if you would like to reach out to me in any form or fashion about anything real estate related at all, happy to help. And of course, happy to earn your business. That website, www.listingsincharleston.com. You can search real estate, read testimonials, find out more about my 59-day home sale guarantee at 4.5% commission. Or if you'd like, you can just give me a call, 843-345-1273. And you can also text me at that number. So what I want to talk about for this segment is what it's like to be a real estate agent in this market right now in this day and age. Because I think that if you look at real estate and real estate agents over a 20-year span, our role really has in some ways stayed the same, but in many ways changed. And here's what I mean by that. We used to be, as real estate agents, the provider of information. This was before my time, but people would walk around with a huge binder, and in that binder was the MLS. There were no websites that you could go on and search for housing. You had to contact a real estate agent. They had to bring around that heavy book, and whatever was in that book was what was available under contract and sold. So we were the gatekeepers of information. And over time, that has changed. We now have all kinds of websites that provide us with all kinds of information, most of which is very helpful in searching for real estate. And what I'm finding is that in a lot of cases, in some of the clients that I work with, maybe that were working with a previous real estate agent and they didn't buy or sell their house, is that those particular clients were more educated about the market than their agents. And I hear that pretty often. And you can see how it's possible now. You know, you take a look at all these websites that offer school ratings and pricing history and tax information and comparable sales and everything right there, minus the Zillow estimate, of course. We've already talked about that. So it has become a very, the market has changed. So we are now kind of shifting from information providers to, in some instances, order takers. And I don't necessarily mean that in a negative way, but I kind of mean it in a negative way, if you know what I mean. We have plenty of real estate agents in this market that simply do what the clients tell them to do. Now, let me explain that I am not here to tell my clients what to do. I'm here to offer opinion when asked. I'm here to relay information and insight based on experience. And I'm here to help them accomplish their goals. And I'm here to also tell them if those goals are reasonable or unreasonable and what we might need to do to tweak them. However, there are plenty of real estate agents in this market, especially the newer ones, that simply do what the agent or what the clients tell them to do. Is that wrong? I don't know if it's wrong or not. Really, we're hired by the client to represent them. So is it wrong to just simply take orders from your client? Well, as long as you're not doing anything illegal, no. But is that what the client really wants? Does the client really want to run the show? Personally, I don't think so. I think they're hiring us as a real estate agent to provide them with value. And different agents provide different types of value to their clients. Personally, I've been in the business for many, many years. I've been in the top 1% of agents since 2009. I've sold a lot of real estate. I've sold hundreds of homes. And my level of experience and the value that I bring to the table is going to be a lot different than an agent that just got in the business or an agent that's been in the business for 25 years but only sells a few houses a year. That's always baffled me, by the way, to say that I've got 30 years of experience. And you look up the amount of houses they've sold and it's 40. It's crazy. Anyways, so that's number one is if you're considering getting into real estate or if you're just kind of putting yourself in the shoes of a real estate agent, are you the type of agent that is going to be an order taker or are you going to be an advisor and an expert for that client? So something to think about. Something else to think about. And again, there's nothing really wrong with this either, I suppose, but we are in a day and age where people demand immediate gratification. If they send you an email, they want it responded to now. If they call you, they want you to call them back now. And I want to explain this in a few different ways. First and foremost, when I'm hired to represent someone, either in the sale of a home or in the purchase of a home, it is my job to be attentive as possible, and to react and to communicate with my clientele as best I possibly can. So when you work with me, I actually have a communication guarantee in my listing agreement. I won't go into that. You can contact me if you want more information. Listingsincharleston.com is the website to do that. But think about it this way. Someone hires me to sell their house. and someone inquires about that specific house, it is my job to respond to that buyer as quickly as possible. Statistics say that if you let a buyer go more than 15 minutes without responding to them in some sort of online inquiry, that you go to a single-digit chance of being able to convert that lead into a potential showing, and an even lower chance of turning them into a client. So the rate by which you are able to capture interest online is decreased dramatically depending upon how you respond and how quickly you respond. So in that sense, I absolutely understand, and that is of utmost importance. You have got to be able to respond quickly. You have to be able to answer your phone. You have to be able to send emails in a timely manner. Having said that, clients and agents and basically everybody now expects that you are available from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to bed. If you are awake, if you are not asleep, and I try to contact you, you need to call me back, is the attitude of a lot of people in this industry and people that hire folks in our industry. And it makes having a personal life at times difficult. You know, you think about it this way. I have a 9 to 5, then I have a 5 to 9, and I work weekends, and there are plenty of times where I've had contract negotiations go to midnight. And is that really necessary? Well, it's what my client really needed. They would have been disappointed if I didn't do it. So you know what? I did it. Did I enjoy being awake at midnight? No. Did I enjoy making a deal happen? Yes. So every agent is going to be different. Some agents say, hey, you know what? I'm available from 9 to 5. Do not contact me after 5 o'clock. I'm spending time with my family. And I don't think that's a bad thing either. Now, they might not sell as much real estate as I do, or, you know, if it changes, or if I decide that, hey, you know what? I'm going to take my family and we're going to go on a vacation, and for that 3 days, I am not available. Yeah, there might be some business lost, but that's why I have a team. I have a team of 8 people that work with me, so they can certainly handle things while I'm away. And if you can't get in touch with me, then you can call my assistant, or you can call my closing coordinator, or you can call my buyer agents, or you can call my showing assistants. Doesn't matter. But the point is, people have become so used to being responded to immediately that I think at times, due to a lack of communication or due to a lack of just setting the right expectation, our industry gets a bad rap about not being communicative. Now, trust me, there are plenty of agents out there that are awful at communicating with people, and those are the people that usually don't sell a lot of real estate, and those are people that are fairly easy to get market share from. But anyways, that, just some things to think about. I don't know if any of this is really helpful in terms of helping you accomplish your real estate goals, but I think it's something to be mindful of. Maybe it just should be said for the standpoint of, if you're going to work with a real estate agent, have that discussion with them at the very beginning so that you have an understanding of how they are going to communicate with you and how you expect to be communicated with. So anyways, coming up next, for our last segment, I've got some reminders and just some tasks and some things to think about for both buyers and sellers that are either in the market or considering getting into the market. So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Again, feel free to reach out to me at 843-345-1273 or go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. I'll be right back.
Stay tuned for more of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. WTMA. Expert news and views on the Low Country real estate scene. The Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on 1250 WTMA.
Welcome back. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA. Thanks for joining me this morning. And if you've been with me since the beginning, thank you very much for your time and for listening. I really do appreciate those that tune into my show and rely on this information so that they can really use it and apply it to their own situation and hopefully accomplish their real estate goals, hopefully through me. So if you're considering buying or selling a home, please feel free to give me a call, 843-345-1273, or visit my website, listingsincharleston.com. And on that site, you can search the MLS, take a look at everything I have for sale and have sold. You can take a look at testimonials from past clients, and you can also click on the Sell Your Home tab and learn more about my 59-day home sale guarantee at 4.5% commission. So if you're just joining us at the very beginning of our program, we talked about what's going on in the market in general right now. And just a quick recap on that is that we're still in a seller's market in the majority of our Tri-County area. Sales are up, inventory is down, pricing is up. If you're looking at rental property, there's hardly anything out there. If you own rental property, congratulations. You're fighting over tenants, I'm sure, in a good way. And if you're looking at foreclosures and short sales, there really aren't that many out there right now. I think I did a show a few weeks ago where I said that the total percentage of active inventory, and I'd have to go back and look at this number, but I think the total percentage of inventory that was in distress, meaning short sale or foreclosure, was like 7% or 8%, something very, very low in comparison. So that's where we are with our market right now. Then we talked about the Zillow estimate and how they have now not only decided to tell you what your house is worth right now, they're going to tell you what it's worth 12 months from now. It's called the Zillow estimate forecast, or the Zestimate forecast. And I jumped up on my soapbox and talked about that for 10 or so minutes because it's something I feel very passionate about. I really don't think that there should be some sort of system that takes over pricing analysis when they don't have the right information to begin with. But anyways, we've been there. If you're curious to know what that means, feel free to go to my website. I'm going to put this version of the show on my website probably Monday. Listingsincharleston.com, again, is the website for that. Then we talked a little bit about what it means to be a real estate agent in this market. I gave some listeners maybe a few things to consider, and I think what it boils down to is communication. You need to have a conversation with your agent, and the agent needs to have a conversation with you to set the right type of expectation on how we are going to communicate with one another. What kind of time am I open to investing in this relationship? If it's a very limited amount of time and you know that you're the type of person that needs constant communication, it might not be a right fit. So just something to think about. What I want to talk about now is just a few tips, both on the buying side and on the selling side, to help you in this market, because we're at the time of year where things are very busy. Buyers are ready to buy, sellers are ready to sell. There's a lot of activity going on. I told you last week that we had sold almost a house a day in April, and it's close to a house a day in May. It really is very busy for a lot of people right now, and it's tough to keep the juggling act going, keep all the balls in the air. It can be stressful. It can be time intensive, not just for the agent, but for the buyer and for the seller as well. So here are some things to take into consideration if you're a buyer in this market right now, because again, we're looking at multiple offers. We're looking at price increases. We're looking potentially at interest rate increases, which affects affordability. So first thing to think about is to be aggressive. You know, if you look over the past 5 to 7 years, and if you look even further past that, it's the norm to start low on an offer. Now, obviously, if we were in 2010 or 2011, we would have started a lot lower then for the same house that we would do it for now. It was just a different type of market. It was a buyer market, not a seller market. So might as well make an offer, see what the seller says. That approach doesn't really apply in this market right now, especially if you're looking in a price range or in an area where there are very few properties for sale, and anything that's reasonably priced and in good condition is going to sell quickly and will likely receive multiple offers. Sometimes you don't have the ability to play that game. You need to be a little bit more aggressive. You need to do your research up front, and you need to determine what is a fair price for that house for you based on what it's worth. So first and foremost, be aggressive. Secondly, don't let up once you're under contract. I think a lot of people get into the mindset of, oh, we're under contract. Finally, we can relax. That's not really the case. You've got inspections, appraisals, flood insurance you've got to look into. There's a lot of moving parts once you're under contract. So don't let up. And if there are issues that are not satisfactory to you, you've already got the seller to agree. See if you can push the envelope a little bit. See if you can push for some repairs or a reduction in the price or whatever that might be. Don't be afraid to negotiate at that point. The worst they can say is no. Number 3, get comfortable with the kind of emotional catch-22, if you will, on this market. be prepared to see a house online that you love, that if you were to rate it on a scale from 1 to 10, it'd be a 9 or a 10, and be prepared for that property to be gone the next day if you don't act quickly. And if you're a buyer, or if you've been a buyer in the past 12 months, I can almost guarantee that that's happened to at least one house that you saw online or whatever it is you saw it. If you didn't act immediately, boom, it was gone. And it stinks when it happens more than once to the same person, because it tells me that either the real estate agent isn't prepared enough and doesn't know enough about what they truly want, or it's just that the buyer hasn't really gotten into the mindset of being able to, like we said at the first point, be aggressive and go in swinging and try and get that deal locked up. So number 3, just to expect that there's going to be some sort of emotional roller coaster there, and that, you're going to see a house, you're going to love it, it's going to be gone. It stinks, but unfortunately you kind of have to move past it, because it will more than likely happen. Number 4, see failure as a course correction. So if that does happen, again, learn from it. Find out how it was possible that that property hit the market and you didn't find out about it until last week. Or, for whatever reason, it hit the market and then you learned about it 5 days later. How does that happen? In my opinion, that's the real estate agent's fault. The real estate agent should be so in tune with what you're looking for that as soon as something hits the market, they call you up and say, hey, John, did you see that house that listed this morning? I sent you an email about it. 4-bed, 2-bath, 2,000 square feet, end of the cul-de-sac, has a pool, great price. When can you meet me there? Can you meet me there at noon today? I think that's the conversation that agents need to be having with their clients, and I don't see that happening very often. And then number 5, if you're a house hunting couple, you guys need to pull together. I see this a lot, and it's going to be a constant thing. It's not going to change depending upon what type of market you're in. But if you're married and you disagree on a lot of things, which is totally common, we really need to kind of come together in terms of what are the must-haves and then what are the wants. We really need to understand that, because you can burn a lot of time looking at property that one person likes but the other person doesn't like, and that ultimately will never be purchased because there's just too large of a gap between what the partners want. So that's buyers. Let's talk about sellers really quickly, okay? Again, questions about that, I've got this put together. If there's anything that I say throughout this show that you'd like a copy of, I keep pretty rigorous notes. So feel free to go to my website, listingsincharleston.com, and request that information. I'll shoot it right over to you. Okay, sellers. If you're in this market right now, good for you. You're typically going to see a large amount of showings, a large amount of online traffic, and hopefully, if you've priced your home correctly and it's in good condition and you've taken some time in the beginning to really prepare it for the market, you might see some multiple offers. Having said that, I think that it's very important for us to take a few things into consideration. Number 1 being kind of removing that emotional attachment from your house so that you can actually see what a buyer is going to see when they walk in. And sometimes I have to take sellers out and I have to actually show them their competition, because they're married to their house. They've been there for 20 years. They think it's great. And it is great for them. But when a buyer walks through it, they see certain things that owner might not see, like a small closet or no laundry room or whatever the purpose might be. Remove yourself emotionally from your house and look at it objectively and see if there are some things that we can do and change to attract more buyers. Number 2 would be over meditation, in my opinion. Thinking too long about what your ideal sales price is, what the lowest offer you're going to accept is, and spanning that out over a month period by saying, well, we're just going to wait to see what happens. If you're interested in selling, I can tell you right now as a top agent that the activity is here. It's right now. And if you're considering selling, I would contact an agent quickly and move forward with that process. Again, if you're considering selling your home, go to my website, listingsincharleston.com, click that Sell Your Home tab. You'll get some more information. And then I'm going to skip to the end, which is that where everybody's in this opinion that, hey, we're in the spring or summer market, it's a sure thing. Of course we'll sell. That's a dangerous mentality to have. If you get an offer and it's good enough, take it. Don't wait for the next one. I'm out of time. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show here on the Big Talker, 1250 WTMA. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great weekend. And again, call me 843-345-1273 or go to my website, listingsincharleston.com. Thank you.
Join us for another edition of the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show next Saturday morning from 8 till 9. Contact Brian Beatty online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Or call him at 843-345-1273. 843-345-1273.